Hello everyone and welcome back to another very exciting and interactive chess game by Mikhail Tal. So in this chess game, the magician from Riga, Tal, had the white pieces and his opponent was Alexander Ginsberger, Israeli chess master. So this chess game was played in Varna Chess Olympiad in 1962. So again, this was a very interactive chess game by Tal. So Mikhail Tal starts the game with e4 as the player who had the white pieces. So we have the French defense, e6, and then d4, d5. And this is the Winawer variation, bishop to b4, and pinning the knight. e5, the advanced variation of the French Winawer. So c5, and then a3. So these are some of the most played moves. And after developing the knight, queen to g4 by Tal, also a popular move in French Winawer. But we have king to f8. Actually, this was the first big mistake against Mikhail Tal. As early as at move 7, black basically made a bad move, king to f8. Black could have castled actually, and bishop to h6 seems very intimidating, but black has this move, knight to f5, and black could have castled, and this would be the correct way to handle the position, but he has failed to see this very simple reply and attacking and defending with the knight. So black is slightly better in here, and maybe he was not well prepared against the French Winawer. But as they say, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. That's a very important lesson. So white has to retreat the bishop, I think, in this position. So queen to g4. It looks like Tal is targeting the g-pawn, and black simply didn't want to castle into it. Maybe black was a little bit too intimidated against Mikhail Tal, one of the most dangerous attackers of all times. So king to f8, but this was a big mistake, and black is going to pay the price because of playing this, well, I should say, this pathetic move. And then knight to f3. So developing the pieces, a4. Okay, black is giving up the bishop. He gave up his bishop for damaging the pawn structure, but that is giving up the bishop. And also black failed to castle, and this is just asking for trouble against Mikhail Tal. So why a4? Making bishop to a3 possible if necessary. So white has flexible options, and black is a little bit cramped because of failing to castle against Tal. So queen to c7, bishop to d3, b6, and then bishop to d3, c4, gaining some space in the queen side, bishop to e2, knight to g6, and this bishop of Tal is looking passive, queen to h5, knight from c to e7, and Tal castled successfully. His opponent failed to do that, so bishop to d7, and then rook over, and black played king to e8, and you can see that black has no good creative ideas for making something out of his position against the master attacker. So g3, h6, knight to h4, king to d8, making too many king moves and wasting important tempo. You can't play like this against one of the most dangerous attackers of all times, and black is asking trouble against Mikhail Tal. And Mikhail Tal is going to punish his opponent soon very badly because of his passive play. So bishop to c1, planning bishop to a3, so king to c8, and then bishop to a3. So look at this move, king to c8. Another king move, just wasting time and planning to castle manually, maybe, with reaching the promised land of b7. But will Tal let him get away with it? Not a snowball's chance in hell. That's not going to happen, not against Tal. So bishop to a3, so the bishop is on the way. You can see that this bishop, all of a sudden, this bishop became a very strong piece. So the dark square bishop has the complete authority of the dark diagonal, and that bishop says, I am the boss, I am the dictator of this diagonal. So knight takes on h4, and then bishop takes on e7, clearing the diagonal, a very important move. So knight to g6, what else? And then bishop to d3, also choking the queen. So queen to d8, and it is white to move. This is a very important moment of this chess game. So Tal is going to basically punish his opponent at this moment because of having an inferior position. So black has the inferior position and white has the superior position. And Mikhail Tal is going to punish his opponent with playing a very strong move that wins for white, which he didn't miss that move at this moment, sadly for Ginsberger. And after that move, black is in deep trouble. So can you guess that move? What would you do if you had the white pieces in this position? Let me give you a few seconds. Don't miss the winning move. Look carefully. So that's the winning move. Okay, let me give you 3 seconds. 3 more seconds. 1, 2, and 3. Queen to f3, and did you see this move? Double threat, double trouble for black. So black was asking for trouble and he is getting what he is asking for. So we have king to b7. So the double threat is attacking on f7, and this bishop all of a sudden became a very strong piece. Bishop takes on c4 because this pawn is pinned. So if queen defends, for example, the f pawn, then bishop takes on c4, and that bishop, who was silent and innocent looking compared to this menacing looking dark square bishop, all of a sudden became the true menace. That bishop, so basically the light square bishop was a silent assassin waiting for his turn. Okay, so all of a sudden the silent assassin is chopping the pawn off and white is winning. So black can black can't take the bishop. If he does that, then queen takes on a8, and that's checkmate in one move. So bishop takes is a very strong move, and black can try bishop to c6, then bishop to b5, and white is a pawn up. And if exchanging, then everything is falling apart and white is winning easily. So king to b7, but I mean king to b7 is also a very bad move. In this hopeless, desperate position, bishop takes is possible, of course, because this pawn is pinned. That's completely possible. But Tal played queen takes on f7. That was his cup of tea. So everything is falling apart and the queen is behind in the enemy lines. So we have queen to e8. Because his opponent's guard has finally fallen, Mikhail Tal is landing flurry of punches. Queen takes on g7, chopping one more pawn, chopping off one more pawn like the Pac-Man. So, okay, I mean, if rook to g8, you can't, of course, play something like, of course, rook or queen to f8 because of this bishop controlling the diagonal, then capturing the knight. And also you can see that you can't move the queen like something like that. I mean, queen takes bishop. So holding this position together is very difficult. This is what I'm trying to say. So queen to e8 and then queen takes on g7, chopping one more pawn off like the Pac-Man. So knight to h4, a desperate cheapo move, hoping g takes, knight on h4 for pinning the queen with the rook. But Mikhail Tal is simply playing queen to f6, knight to f5, bishop to g4, hoping to capture the knight, and then white is going to have a pawn roller. So knight takes bishop, pawn takes, and then rook over, and then queen back, queen to f7, simply defending the f pawn, and this pawn is ready to be taken. So we have king to c6, not defending with the rook because of bishop to h5, and that's a nasty skewer. The other rook is not going to make much difference because of bishop to h5. So pawn up, and finally everything is falling apart, and white basically has 3 extra pawns. So rook to h8, black could have resigned, of course. That would be perfectly fine. So doubling the rooks and then pawn up check, and finally black resigned. Now he resigned. So the possible continuation, if king takes, then we have check and everything is falling apart. And if king to c7, then we have this move, and you can take the rook because of promoting the queen, and everything is falling apart. So king takes and then check, and if king to c6 doesn't matter, then rook takes on a7, and now white is behind the enemy lines. So a very beautiful chess game by Mikhail Tal. So black failed to castle, and he paid the price against Tal, and Tal punished his opponent drastically in this chess game. So basically white has 3 extra pawns in this chess game. A very instructive chess game. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care and bye bye.